Guys, how are you doing today? Welcome back to Random Lifestyle Blog. Today we're going to be talking about the newest flanker of Vie Est Belle by Lancome, and this is Iris Absolu, and this is what the box look like, and this is the bottle. As you can see, it is really pretty. I mean, those bottles are usually quite pretty, so there's no surprise here. And this is the flanker of the original Vie Est Belle, which was released back in 2012, and as you can see, I have like a smaller bottle of this fragrance over here. This fragrance has been extremely popular, and as usually happens with those extremely popular fragrances, there are many people who are obsessed with them, and there are people who just cannot stand them. I would kind of place myself somewhere in between. As you can see, this small bottle is like almost full and I've had it for a while. I do like this fragrance. I think it's pretty, but I cannot deny the fact that this has been like everywhere. And even though this fragrance is over 10 years old now, it's still quite popular. Not as popular as it used to, but pretty popular still. I think I can safely assume that like almost everyone knows how this fragrance smells, but if for some reason you don't, this is like a very sweet tonka praline vanilla fragrance. It has some patchouli to ground it a little bit. It has quite a lot of like iris in it that kind of makes it a little bit more powdery, and it has some fruity notes as well. I find this fragrance very kind of like nostalgic, melancholic, so that's why I find it more suitable for like autumn. I think it's quite elegant, romantic, daytime kind of fragrance, very feminine. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Lancome has been releasing a flanker pretty much like every year. Sometimes there were like 2 flankers a year since the release of this fragrance. So we've had like plenty of flankers, and to be honest, they all seem to have this quite noticeable original DNA, so I don't really necessarily see the point of having them all. I've never actually felt like that, so I only have maybe like 5 flankers altogether. The interesting thing is that in the recent years, Lancome has been playing with increasing the iris note in Vie Est Belle fragrances. So obviously that's not for everyone, but I kind of like where it's going. So the first fragrance with this really enhanced iris note was Blanche, and I don't have this fragrance, so I'm just going to put a picture over here so that you can see it, like you can see the bottle. To me, this fragrance was not a great direction. It was just too kind of like dry and powdery and almost like suffocating. So this fragrance was constructed around this enhanced iris and musk. So musk is a very kind of like dry and kind of like a powdery note as well, and that combined with iris, that was a little bit too much for me. There were like some sweet notes over there as well, but that didn't really balance these things for me, so I decided not to buy it. It was just, I couldn't really stand it on my skin. I'm not saying it was bad, it just did not work for me like at all. So Blanche was released in 2021, but then in 2022 we had this release, and this is Oui. Again, this fragrance is focused on this enhanced iris, but that note is actually very nicely balanced with rose, with raspberry, so it's like a very kind of like feminine, a lighter, juicier version. It's perfect for spring. It's very kind of bright and I'd like to say girly, but I think like generally Vie Est Belle is more like feminine than girly, if you know what I mean. I don't think it's like very mature, but it's definitely not too young of a scent. Anyway, I actually really enjoyed this fragrance, and when I heard that this year they actually came out with another kind of like iris based fragrance, I was like, well, but do we need another one? Like, there was one that I didn't like, there was one that I really liked, so should I buy it? To be honest, I wasn't really sure. I did not really want to buy it at first, but then I tested it. So this is not a blind buy. I actually tested it before and my mind was blown. So this fragrance, guys, is just so beautiful. So this is again iris, so it's going to be quite powdery and have this like drier kind of like quality. It has fig. I love fig. And it has like really gorgeous gourmand accord, which is not, that does not really give me this praline kind of like tonka vanilla vibe that we had in previous fragrances. It's just so pretty. It smells a little bit like cake. So it's like iris, you know, this cake, fig, such a beautiful concoction. So let me read you the notes so that you have the full idea of how this might smell. So the top notes are blackcurrant, orange blossom and fig, middle notes orange blossom and jasmine, and then base notes of iris, gourmand accord and patchouli. Yeah, so that's pretty much what it is. I do get quite a lot of fig in this, and I personally actually really like this note, so that's brilliant. This gourmand accord is just beautiful. Patchouli usually in these fragrances doesn't really bother me. I mean, okay, to be fair, patchouli usually doesn't bother me, so I'm not really that type of person that has like a headache when patchouli is involved, but oh my god, this fragrance is so stunning. Do you know what? I actually think this is going to be like a really nice all-year-rounder. So you can still get the original DNA here, but this fragrance is just like on another level for me. This Gourmand Accord, I prefer it so much than what it used to be. This iris, the powderiness of iris, I mean, you have to love iris obviously to be able to appreciate this fragrance, but it just works perfectly. Okay, so let's talk about whether this is actually worth buying if you have other fragrances from La Vie Est Belle line. So if you have the original fragrance or any of the like kind of like older flankers, I think there's not going to be that much resemblance. Obviously, you can still get this original DNA here, but I wouldn't say it's that similar. If, on the other hand, you own one of these kind of like iris-based flankers, and I'm talking about Blanche or Vie, then obviously there are going to be similarities, right? All three fragrances have noticeable original DNA, and all these fragrances have this prominent iris note. So there are similarities, and I think this very much depends on how trained your nose is and how many differences you'll be able to spot, and also how much you like this kind of like La Vie Est Belle iris concoction, because if you really love that, then you might actually want to have all of them. But you know what, if someone like actually gave me all three fragrances and asked me to choose, I would just go with this one and I'll be fine. I don't think I necessarily need this one here, which is Vie. It's very pretty. It's a little bit different because it's more like fruity, rosy, but I still think like there are similarities between these two fragrances, and those similarities are really hard to kind of like ignore. So I don't feel like I necessarily would need these two scents. And I think the story will be very similar with Blanche. We also have those similarities here. Anyway, I do think this fragrance is beautiful, but I might be a little bit biased because this year I'm obsessed with iris. Like anything with iris is like an instant love. So that could be one of the reasons, but this Gourmand Accord is also so pretty. And I like fig, so like what's not to like about it? I can imagine like easily someone like literally hating the original fragrance and really liking this one, because there are like more differences than similarities between this one and the original one. But then again, we have like those like three kind of like iris intense fragrances in the recent years, and I would probably say these three share like more similarities than differences. Anyway guys, have you tried this fragrance? If so, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Let me know whether you like it or not, what you think about this whole La Vie Est Belle line, and if you like it, let me know which one is your favorite. My favorite, if you'd like to know, would be between this one and Soleil Cristal, which is kind of this, again, iris coconutty one. That one is also lovely. So that will be my two favorites. Thank you very much for watching. For more fragrance related videos, check these ones over here. I'm going to see you very soon. Take care. Bye.